I try to work from the space of healing frequencies, but I also do care a lot about the quality of the sound, about the artistic expression, really. But that also all serves this purpose of opening the heart and opening our soul. The music has this incredible capability of really bringing us into our heart and also expanding our heart, and like I guess making us know that our innermost dreams, things that we dream about and really want, but sometimes judge as a little bit maybe impossible or like outside of the realm of reason, those dreams and this stuff that lies deep within our hearts is actually our true destination, and it's actually the seed of the much more beautiful reality than we can even imagine. And the music is just a way of awakening this seed or awakening those dreams and making us realize, hey, I can actually truly live my life like Alice in Wonderland and believe 6 impossible things before breakfast. And as I walk that path with trust, this thing can manifest. And
Hi, Floramor. Welcome to the Awakened Heart podcast.
welcome, Nancy. Very, very happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. And this lady is coming from all the way across the continent and across the sea. She's coming from beautiful Germany. And I'm so honored and thrilled to have her on here today. I'm thrilled to have you on here. What part of Germany are you in?
Yeah, hi. So yeah, that's right. I live in Germany. I am based in Berlin, but I actually live outside the city. I am happy to live in the country and also in a
Mhm.
beautiful community. And I am originally Polish, but I live since many, many years in Germany. So for me, Poland and Germany is like my land. It's like
Mhm.
one. I really connect the both, and I respect both, and I see myself as one of those people who are just like completely leaving the past patterns that are in between these countries and are just seeing this oneness that is the earth, that
Mhm.
is the sky, that are the plants, that is just the same earth
Mhm.
here. That's my
Mhm.
land.
Mhm. So is your family heritage are you Polish and Germanic? So your roots really go deep into those countries and those
Yeah, that's right.
lands. Yeah.
My body is definitely pure Polish. I mean, all
Mhm.
my biological lineage is just like 100% Polish. I am just really not mixed up at all, like most
Mhm.
people.
Mm.
And I still feel the connection to, like I said, also this culture here. Like I feel this Slavic roots in myself, and I feel also the Germanic roots in myself, and more than that.
Mm. There's quite a history there in Poland, and not even just the last couple hundred years, but eons
Yeah.
ago, like when people were more rooted to the land before everything became more, quote unquote, modernized. And it looked like from your videos, so where you film your videos, is that where you live in your land? Because I notice I'm like, oh my gosh, she lives in nature. Or
Yeah.
is it really close and accessible to you? So you can really go and work with, talk to the trees and, have, homage to the plants. And is that right outside your door pretty much?
Yes, I live in nature. We have beautiful
Mm,
trees on our lands, the oaks. And as we know from the old stories of like Celtic myths, they have been working with these particular trees a lot. So we are kind of like reawakening this culture and also working with our trees here on the land.
What are the trees? What are the particular trees that are in your area that you said that you really work with that are particular to your land, right?
Yeah, that's the oaks.
Oh, the oaks. Okay, you did
The
say
oaks,
oaks.
yeah.
Oh, I love the oaks. They're big
Yeah,
and their root systems.
yeah. Very
So,
strong, very proud.
yes, yes, I'm fine. I moved to Oregon a couple years ago just to be closer to the trees, and I'm surrounded by trees, and I've got trails right out my front door, and it's just very healing. And There's a lot of magic, and I find magic when I'm amongst the trees. I lived at the beach before, which is nice being by the ocean, but I'm drawn more to the trees, definitely, and the plants. And I definitely want to talk about more about the plants in nature and how plants have a certain frequency and how we are connected to these plants and you know, the energetics and all that. But I'd love for you to let my audience know, kind of give a background about yourself and what led you into doing this kind of work to find your voice in and work in this genre around
Yeah,
plants and healing and medicine.
yeah. So I am a medicine music artist and also medicine music woman in one. And the difference between the two is, I guess, the intention, really. And I try to combine both. I try to work from the space of healing frequencies, but I also do care a lot about the quality of the sound, about the artistic expression, really. But that also all serves this purpose of opening the heart and opening our soul. The music has this incredible capability of really bringing us into our heart and also expanding our heart, and like I guess making us know that our innermost dreams, things that we dream about and really want, but sometimes judge as a little bit maybe impossible, or like outside of the realm of reason. Those dreams and this stuff that lies deep within our hearts is actually our true destination, and it's actually the seed of the much more beautiful reality than we can even imagine. And the music is just a way of awakening this seed or awakening those dreams and making us realize, hey, I can actually truly live my life like Alice in Wonderland and believe 6 impossible things before breakfast. And as I walk that path with trust, this thing can manifest. And my life is truly unfolding like that since a couple
Mm.
of years. Since I started doing medicine music, I have taken a deep dive into traditions that are not original to my lands, not to Poland and not to Germany, but they brought me really, really deeply into connection with my lands.
Mm.
So that's an amazing mystery that is coming from this connection with the plants as we are working with them in a conscious way through ritual and ceremony.
And so you discovered that within yourself, that this is your gift and what they do, and how music, how does exactly, I know there's stuff with the vibration of music, and there's certain megahertzes and stuff like that. Is there a certain tonality to the music that actually does the works on the physical energetic level
Yeah. Yeah,
to
I mean, my path started actually with yoga. I mean, my
mm-hmm,
body really belongs to this land, but my soul belongs to the whole earth. And since ever, I had this impression or this deep connection to the music of like different traditions, different indigenous traditions, and different spiritual traditions. I always felt very, very drawn to that. And my path started actually almost 20 years ago with going into yoga, and I took this path quite seriously because I went into ashram for 6 years and I wanted to become a yogi. I wanted to become a real monk. And
mm,
I thought that's really my family, these guys and ladies that are sitting there in those orange colored robes, the yogis, the swamis, the monks. This is really my family. And I took a vow and I was walking that path very, very devotedly for many years. And I discovered the power of the mantras first. And this is actually very, very similar to how the plants are working and how the plant frequencies are helping us to create music that is connected to the source. And mantras are an expression of divinity. And or if someone maybe cannot like really make cannot connect to that word, we can say that the mantras are connected to the universal energies, to cosmic energies that are there. And those structures are also within ourselves. We call it the energy body. And the mantra is something that works on this energy body very, very deeply and very resonantly. So as I was walking that path, I thought that's my home, for many years.
Mm.
So that was my first connection that I made. I jumped like to India and then back. And then after many years, I left that path because the monastic path, like kind of this chapter finished completely, and I started looking somewhere else. And that brought me to South American traditions, and I found something very similar, but in a different expression through the South American shamanism mainly, and discovered the ceremony music. And since then, I'm doing a ceremony music, and it can flow in different languages. It has also more possibility of creative expression, and that's something that I'm immensely grateful for, because at this moment it feels like a huge garden that I am blessed to tend. Uh, and when I am really, really like in tune with myself and with the divine, then the music starts flowing and I start composing songs. So I feel immensely humbled and blessed for having such a path in this life.
Mm-hmm. And you were led, you get inspired by your music. And I read um, that with your song, Ayahuasca Quandera, which I love, by the way, you first you received that song by the spirit of Anaconda. Is that correct? So you
That's
received
right,
the
yeah.
inspiration for your music, right?
Yeah.
And then you create from there.
That's right, yeah.
Mhm.
What's interesting is that I see that there is one spirit behind all the traditions. We call it now, if we work with the South American shamanism, with those ceremonies, then we call it the spirit of Anaconda.
Mm.
Previously, as I was working with yogic and tantric traditions, I was calling it, the Kali energy or the spirit of the Kundalini or the snake. It's
Mhm.
really the same thing. It is just being expressed through like different tools and different channels. And I see in this song, Ayahuasca Curandera, very much this power of transformation that is coming like from through our roots and is moving through our bodies to open up and transform. That's basically how it works. When
Mm.
you allow yourself to like take a deeper dive into that through music or through ceremonies, then you can discover it for yourself. And my life and my system has changed like immensely.
Mm.
I have died 1,000 deaths and have been reborn 1,000 times, and this is just the greatest blessing for myself. That's why my intention is to share that with everyone.
Mhm.
This path of healing through music and through ceremonies. If someone is drawn to that, I can like really, really recommend this and just send 1,000 blessings to
Mm.
everyone who would like to work with this.
Mm. And for those of you who are just listening to this and not seeing the video portion, you've got to see her, Floramor. She is just glowing. Anytime she mentions working with the music and doing ceremony and being inspired, she's just glowing and smiling from ear to ear. And you can see she is just so rooted in her purpose, and it's beautiful to see. And so I love it. So thank you so much for sharing your gifts with the world. And you've created there's another one, Pachamama, that I love, and I want to talk about the Icaros, which is what you sing, and how that is used to because I've listened to the music before, and it really takes me down deeper. Like I hear the Icaros, and then it just sends me to another place. Like literally, um, it just starts spinning and moving and transitioning. It's just, how does that work with that? It's like,
Well, it's a
take me down,
mystery.
you take me down deeper. Like literally, it's like, whoa, okay, I'm fine. Whoa, there I go.
Yeah. Well, for sure, I can give you like some kind of explanation, but
Mhm.
at the very core, it is really a
Personal.
mystery.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot really explain this in words because precisely this doesn't work on that level, on the verbal
Mm-hmm.
level. this works on a very mystical, magical level, and people who are able to surrender to that and just be like taken on this journey, then they can kind of experience like their bigger self, let's say, their more expanded self, or deeper layers of their own being. And because this music that you call Icaro, this is something very, very specific. These are very, very specific chants that are coming from different traditions in South America. They are also like, this is an amazingly rich world. There are so many traditions and so many ways to do it. But what they do, they have been working with this since actually hundreds and even maybe thousands of years. We don't really know. They've been working with magical medicine plants, also in the forest, and people who were blessed to go very, very, very deep have received the Icaros as a kind of medicine. We call it medicine music because Icaros have the ability of actually working on the level of your energy body in those places that require healing. It's like when you imagine a grandmother who is like repairing maybe a piece of cloth that has a hole or something. That's what they do. They just put back your inner energetical structure together. If you have like some traumas or blockages or places that require healing, then they are just like weaving there on the energetical level to make something that has been hurt or traumatized or blocked, to make it back whole. And it's just a mystery. I think I will be learning until the end of my life what it really is. Because my studies are, I always feel like I'm always at the beginning, of my journey. I always feel like I'm still want to learn so much. So my plan is to take more deeper dives in South America to learn this more. Yeah.
It's like beginner's mind. You're always the student. It's always like if you can have beginner's mind, then you're just coming from that place of innocence and being present and having that curiosity and having that the presence, beginner's mind. And you create from opening up to being available to whatever is. And that's going to always keep you in that creative mode because you're not into some old routine and this is boring and I'm going to make license plates and something that's killing your spirit.
Yeah.
You're always
Yeah.
like, on this exciting path of creation. I love that. Yeah. And so there's also the whole thing with the plant frequencies. And it sounds like what you were describing before, as far as, the music, it sounds like it has an intelligence. And when it's used the right way or used in the way that these Icaros and the way that you're, the medicine music, that it has this intelligence that knows where to go with inside you to heal whatever
Mm.
needs to be healed, whether it's a physical ailment or whether it's an energetic ailment or whether it's, emotional or something that you're not even consciously aware of, or that might not even be yours of this present lifetime. Like you're healing, generations before you or your lineage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it sounds like it does have intelligence, and it's the same with the plant frequencies.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And people, I have experienced that in my life, and I know many people who have expanded beyond what usually maybe average people are thinking is possible or are limiting themselves to. We're always thinking that, oh, we have things under control and this is possible and this is impossible. And what is the intelligence and what is the consciousness? It's just perfect. Yeah, I think you have put it like really perfectly, saying that this is the intelligence that we can tune ourselves into, and it is just more than our, let's say, limited human intelligence, limited to our personality. And that's precisely how we can expand,
Mm-hmm.
by tuning into that, surrendering, and making ourselves really, really humble to be able to channel and receive or receive the healing, but also be the transmission for others. So people who are holding the ceremonies, and I am blessed to be also many times on teams that are holding the ceremonies. That's like always our intention is, okay, let me be of service.
Mm-hmm.
When I play, I don't play for the audience so much. It's not playing for entertainment, really, although it's also beautiful and we have a lot of joy coming from that music. But it's not like entertainment only. It's being of service means just being very, very present and trying to allow the music make you allow the music to not you're not making music, you allow music to be made through you,
Mm-hmm.
to be expressed through you, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
most beautiful thing. And I can really truly recommend everyone who tries to sing
Mm-hmm.
who tries singing in front of people to imagine, okay, I'm not singing for the people, maybe I'm singing for that cloud, maybe I'm singing for that tree, or maybe I'm singing into my body first. And that's gonna just like really create a very, very different quality
Mm-hmm.
than I'm singing for people and it needs to be nice and it needs to be perfect, or all those like limited ideas that usually people have. So part of my mission is actually to enable people to do that, and it's very, very liberating,
Mm-hmm.
and awakens also their natural organic musicality. That's something I truly believe in because I've experienced this. I believe there is something like natural organic musicality that we have. Our body makes music all the time, just
Mm-hmm.
like the nature outside. And it's about transforming ourselves or putting ourselves in that place so that we can feel that this is like a constant flow. And I teach people that. I bring them back to their childhood so that they can let go of this shame and fear of
Mm-hmm.
self-expression. Just, play around, be wild first, and be like, do things that are kind of stupid. But it is just with this intention of just letting go of all the blockages of self-expression. And this becomes a very liberating tool
Mm-hmm.
or self-healing tool. That's amazing.
Because it's something that's coming directly from them instead of out of the mind what it should be, and performing for
That's right.
someone. You are
Mm.
literally like feeling the music, singing the music, and it's coming from your soul. So it's such a different paradigm. It's the same as when somebody starts moving their body in certain ways, you know, the shame or what should be or what society thinks, but just
Yeah,
listening to some music and letting your body take you. It's so liberating and it's
that's
such
right.
a joyful, soulful experience. I sing like horribly, but I have done it where I just start to tone and it's a whole resonant throughout my whole body. And it's such a connect, it's almost like connecting to the cosmos and outside of yourself and outside of this realm. So I and in having people start by when you're teaching them to just like play like a child, because as a child anything was possible. You're not
Yeah,
restricted by these things that should be would be, you're not restricted by things. You just are, and you're just in that state of being. So you're returning them back to that state of being, and then from there they find the music within themselves and express it that way. That's
yeah,
amazing.
that's right. It takes sometimes a little while, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's very quick. I discovered this one little trick that I do with people, that I just allow them to be kids, because we need to go back first to that stage or that age where we were started, where it's I mean, where the adults. Oh, sorry. I mean, we need to go back first to that place where we started being shamed.
Mhm.
Well, everybody, pretty much everybody, has been shamed for their expressions as kids. uh, Most of people were not allowed to be loud, were not allowed to be too wild, and stuff like this. And that's usually very, very hurting for the soul, very, very hurting for the self-expression. So in my work, I open that space where people can be free first as kids, and then we take it to the next level, to more mature level, where this expression can take place on like on the next level and become more mature quality. So we have to take it like step by step and let it grow bit by
Mhm.
bit.
Mhm. And you do this one-on-one, and then you have 5-day retreats, and then you have, like, a weekend retreats. So do you take them through, like, your individual clients that you're taking on the one-on-one, and then that'll go over a period of time, and then I'm sure a 5-day one, you see people just really transform over the 5 days, and it's not like I've looked at what is included, and it sounds pretty amazing, these retreats, like, all these ceremonies and, all these other, the music and all that. It's just like, it's so encompassing. It's beautiful. But you probably see a lot of people transform over over a 5-day, over a weekend, and then taking a client through however many sessions they go through.
Yes, exactly. After 5 day retreat, people are usually like glowing and
Mm,
blossoming. They have received so much nourishment. They have usually transformed a little bit, to some extent, their traumas or their blockages, and they are usually like super, super grateful, which again makes me extremely
mhm,
grateful and feel blessed that I am allowed to do this and that people trust this work.
mhm,
And it's quite, although it's so much fun, it's actually quite serious work with releasing the traumas. And yeah, I'm just really, really happy, really, really
mhm.
grateful to be able to be the channel for that.
Yes, blessed. And there's one thing, like a lot of people do go to these retreats and they leave transformed and they're glowing. But do you often follow a lot of people that have been to some of these retreats? Because the challenge is taking what you've done in this beautiful space and taking it into their real life, and then, applying, their tools and, what they have learned in this beautiful sacred space. Are they able to carry this into their own life, or do they come back for, other sessions? What have you seen as far as some of your clients, as far as them remaining in that space where they can be like a child and use these
Yeah.
beautiful gifts within themselves?
Yeah, I'm sure you know how it is in our modern life. People go
Mhm,
back to work, go back to their everyday life, and pretty much everything comes back on the old track.
mhm,
But the place of the ceremony or place of ritual, and I work with different kinds of rituals, is mainly the place to be able to remember.
mm,
It's been
mhm,
like that. It's been like that actually since thousands of years. That's actually what is the basic function of a ceremony of ritual. Let me remember what is my essence first. Let me remember how to tune back again. Let me remember what is the essence of life. What is my purpose? Or if I don't know my purpose yet, because many people don't know their purpose yet. This is the whole discovery. Yeah, let me sit with this intention. I really want to listen to that inner voice and find out what is the purpose. And like bit by bit, it takes time. It's very individual. But I see people slowly and slowly leaving what I'm calling like the official matrix structures,
mhm,
like all those structures that are actually enslaving people's souls
mhm,
and hearts. I mean, how many people are having like a completely unsatisfying, terrible job
mhm,
that is very stressful. So the music has also this quality of making us remember back or go back to that place. And it kind of everything that you might have learned before in some previous retreats or sessions, this gets activated again. And like slowly, slowly, you are being taken, I hope, hopefully, to the place where maybe you will be on the path of discovering your own creative gift.
mhm,
That's another aspect of my own cosmology. I believe everyone has this very unique, particular gift that they came here with, but very often they have no idea what that is because we are conditioned into being functional in the
mhm,
society within the structures of artificial matrix. So all spiritual paths actually aim at that. Let me discover that what is truly my calling, because that's connected also to my essence. And if you can start living from that, you can start creating your own structures. And I have been blessed because I've never entered any professional world You know, direct after my studies in Poland, I entered ashram, and that was it. I said goodbye to the official matrix. It was
That's
over
saying
20 years
goodbye.
ago. Yeah, I just took a jump already long ago, so I feel very blessed and protected, and because I have a proof of 20 years that it's actually working. You know, that you don't have to have that experience of very professional and stressful world in order to start discovering yourselves. You can also jump into that and take time, but it took me a
Mm-hmm.
long time. It took me a
Mm-hmm.
really long time. It took me almost 20 years to be able to call myself a musician and a singer, although I always could sing. But yeah, it's just the way of unfoldment, very
Mm-hmm.
individual for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And your journey was that way. And it's interesting how, this modern matrix, there's so much. I mean, I think especially over the last couple of years, what was really in all of our faces is just how, we always thought the modern society, how lucky we are living in modern society. We've got electricity, we've got jobs and all that. But we're learning, like you said, how many of us are slaves to the system and we're not doing what we're here to do. And that creates so much disharmony and disease in our bodies and so much, the what is it? The antidepressants. I don't know about your country, but here they're handing out like, popping, pills
Yeah,
like Tic Tacs and stuff. So
yeah.
people aren't doing what's natural to themselves. And you, in the work that you're offering, is helping them remember what they're here to do. And therefore they might have this high powered job they're miserable at, and then they quit it and they're doing something that's more purpose based, soul aligned, and service orientated. And, their life opens up to them. And a lot of people don't think that can happen for themselves. And we've been tied so much into this modern society, which, it has a lot of blessings, but it's taken us away from Mother Earth. We don't walk on the ground anymore. We're not grounded, many of us. I've just learned how powerful earthing is. It's such a simple thing. I've got my feet on an earthing mat right now because it's cold outside. I can't go earthing out there. But just how a lot of these things that we were tied to for many years, we are tied to the earth and the stars and, the energy of the planet, and we've become so disconnected from it. So it's so important, the work that you're offering, to bring people back and remember their essence and to, live from a place from there. And when we do that and more people do that, it's a domino effect, and more people will, feel that
Definitely.
energy and that frequency, and their energy, even if they're not conscious of it, is going to recognize that themselves. And if their soul is ready for something like that, there we go, we're on that path. And I think a lot of souls are open to it.
Mm.
I mean, I think some people do come into this lifetime and, they're here to learn certain lessons, and they're just not going to, go along that path. But we need to return back to a place where there's ritual, where there's ceremony, where there's community, where there's um, honoring the animals and the plants and the land, and stop destroying it all. And I have seen also, there's the energy of the plants and the plant frequency. You think that you cut a plant and that's just it, but they do, like, they're alive. Like, you could talk bad to a plant and it's not thriving. And I have seen under a light, maybe it's a black light, I don't know what kind of light, or a microscope, where literally you see energy around the plant. Like, you see it in it. If it gets cut, there's still energy around those plants. So really there
Yeah.
needs to be more reverence
Yeah,
for plant life.
in the shamanic view, actually, the plants are seen as mothers of all
Hmm.
creation
Hmm.
because these were the first beings that gave nourishment to all other beings, like that, you know. And maybe this is the way of reconnecting us back to Mother Earth. You have actually touched a topic that is extremely interesting in our times. This collective topic of what is the humanity actually doing? What kind of path we're on? What kind of path we've been on the last 5 or 10,000 years? Because I share this view with many people from my bubble, let's say,
Hmm.
my spiritual bubble, that in a way the civilization in itself is an expression of that cutting ourselves off of Mother Nature.
Hmm.
In a way, this whole build up that has happened The very beginning has already been built on that wound. We call it like in the shamanic view, we call it like this primary wound that has happened. And it's a great mystery why actually humanity took such a funny path of disconnection and building up structures and civilization that are just incredibly destructive to the world and to ourselves. If we see our own body as an expression of the earth, which they are, because we all come from a Mother Earth as beings, as biological beings, then what we do to our bodies is the same thing that we're doing to our Mother Earth. Mm-hmm. We are poisoning them, like you mentioned, those popping pills, especially in US for depression. And that's only one little thing. Everything that we are surrounded with, and most people don't know it because we take it for granted, that's the reality we have been born into, is an expression of this addiction almost. It's like addiction to unhealthy structures. Mm-hmm. And we are living in amazing times of collective transformation of consciousness on the whole planet, where so many people are awakening to that reality. Oh dear, this and this is just like not fine, not okay with me, Mm-hmm. Political systems, the economical systems, it's all like tied together. It's just one system of addiction, and people are fearing to leave the system precisely for that particular reasons, because it gives them this illusion of security. What am I going to do if I don't have a job? How am I going to survive? Well, there's a path for people who are brave enough to jump. Mm-hmm. It's really there, and sometimes you have to build it. And my life has been like literally being on a train, and I am building my tracks as I go. Mm-hmm. So that's this path into unknown. I am part of that collective avant-garde of many, many thousands of people already, who are like this wave of new consciousness, and we are building those tracks and those bridges into the unknown. So I want to offer this music to people who are deep within the structures of artificial matrix as a bridge into their own soul, into their own hearts, to like get this kind of impulse of, wow, this is awakening some impulses in me that I didn't really even realize consciously that I have, but they're like, oh my God, so essential for me. And I receive this feedback from people, and I see this feedback also online under the videos and music of my colleague artists, that people don't even know what these people are singing about, but it's just like, I don't know, it feels amazing when I listen to this music. It awakens me. It's beautiful. It's nourishing.
It calls to something inside of ourselves. It calls to that. And there's sometimes when I hear like Middle Eastern music and that woman, that calling that I hear in a woman's voice or a man's voice, I don't know if I can't do it here, but literally it wakes up something ancient within myself.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so you have an album, your album's coming up, your first solo album, correct?
It's my first solo album.
And it's going to be out the 23rd of March. So it'll be out by the time this airs. And when people go and get this album, can they go and get certain tracks off of it, or download the whole album, or buy the album? Where can we find this album?
Yeah, it's going to be available on all platforms. Mm-hmm. So as you know, I think on iTunes you can download tracks, single tracks, or just download the whole album. So both is possible, and it's going to be on all streaming services. And I have created album in many different languages, obviously because of my connection to South American shamanism. There is stuff in Spanish, but I also have songs in English, also in German, one little song. Wow. And also in Sanskrit, one mantra that I really, really love. So there's going to be, I want to just approach and get to people from different backgrounds.
How many languages do you know?
It depends. What do you mean with no? Because
or can you at least understand a little bit, or at least you can sing in all these different languages? It's so impressive, because here in America, English. We're rarely
Yeah.
taught. Like I learned Spanish through Sesame Street when I was young, and then you try to learn it in high school and you fall
Yeah.
asleep and stuff. But we're not taught here in America to know all these languages, which I think is such a detriment to us, English society. Then we go over to other countries, and we go to France, and we try to talk to someone with,
Yeah.
at least the town, Jane Po, Jane, you just at least try their language, and then they're nice. But
Yeah.
these Americans. But how many do you Spanish and Sanskrit? Hello.
I think quite some. I can sing basically in any language. I don't need to know the language to be able to sing with it because it's just different part of the
Oh, it's
brain.
download. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and I have one song on the album that is a cover of amazing women group from States.
Mhm.
They sing in a Sioux dialect. Sorry, they sing in a Sioux dialect that is called Saponi and Tutelo language, and the group is called Pura Fe, and they did this amazing chant that is called Makchi, and it is in this old Sioux language. So I have taken it on also. I don't know why actually. It's just because it resonates with me so deeply.
Mhm.
It's beautiful language. It even reminds me of Polish a little bit. And because it's also from the northern hemisphere, it kind of connects to my land in a way as well.
Mhm.
I just feel it. But I feel the whole globe. The Mother Earth is just my home, and I feel it in my soul deeply since many incarnations. I feel like I have
Mhm.
walked,
Mhm.
through all those traditions. And yeah, I can speak basic Spanish, and I can write lyrics in Spanish better than I can speak. I don't know how that works, but it's just my brain is connected to that. I just give it then to check to a person who really knows Spanish to make sure it's really correct. But I can write in Spanish. I can sing in Portuguese. I cannot speak Portuguese. Um,
Wow.
and so on. The Sanskrit is just like another part of my soul. First time I've heard it, I thought, yeah, that's my home.
Mm.
And I can just like immediately get it. I don't know. I have just been probably gifted with the connection to the languages. And I just love it, love different languages.
And I know that where you were talking about how you can sing it, but you can't really speak it. I know there's a lot of therapies where they have you sing because saying it is different, but they're able to sing it, but they're not able to write it or
Yeah,
speak it. It must open up something else when you're another, portal when you're singing it. So that's
that's
cool.
right. That's right. Actually, everybody who wants to learn a different language that they don't know, I would really recommend learning to sing in that language because you're going to
I'm gonna
make
do
it
that.
easier for your brain to get acquainted with that, not through learning boring grammar and style stuff like this,
Mhm.
but through the melody. And
Mhm.
then, you can understand a lot of things. Speaking it is a different part of brain, so learning it is going to be required on a different level, but you
Mhm.
have already made that connection if you can sing a little bit in a different language.
Mm. I should have done I should have done that when I was trying to learn Italian because I was like going to Italy for a couple weeks and I was doing Duolingo and Babbel and I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing good. I'm learning it." And then I lived in in California at the time and I took class in Santa Monica and he taught it in Italian. And I was just like deer in the headlights the whole time. I couldn't understand anything and they're teaching the masculine and feminine and calling me. I'm like, "I don't know anything. I don't know anything." So, it just went back to like knowing how to ask for the bathroom or, where the hotel is. But if I could have seen it, maybe it would have integrated in my brain a little better. And that's why they say watch, news or watch something on TV. But I could have watched music videos and, learned a lot more that way. So so somebody that might go and which I encourage everybody to do and go get her album. I saw it's on Spotify, it's all on all the music platforms. How would you suggest somebody that's listening today that wants is going to get the album to really listen to this music, to like sit and integrate it? What's a really great way for them to really embody and integrate this music within themselves?
Well, the best way is just to relax, I guess. It's already like a little challenge for most people to be able to just listen to music and not do anything else.
Hmm.
That's like another kind of space. and that maybe people probably people do not allow themselves a lot to do. And the music that is on the album, um, yeah, I would love it if people could go for a walk with the
Mm-hmm.
headphones, and listen to that. That would be amazing. And I also invite everyone who likes doing ceremonies to just sit down and maybe try to have a little candle, and just go very deep inside of themselves and just see how it works. And people who already are into this kind of music, I hope it can serve them doing even more deeper stuff, like praying for their families, like praying for a particular type of healing. Because I hope and I suppose that's also possible with this kind of music, because I've experienced that myself already in the ceremonial space, that it can work that kind of wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then also while washing dishes, because better that than not, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'll work on that subconscious level and be a nice dishwashing
Yeah.
album to listen to. I do want to ask the question because it's something that I find that is so it really gets to me in some way is when you're singing the song, and I mentioned that before we hit record, the dee 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 dee, where you go into that, where you tone out a certain portion of it. Is that meant to do something as far as energetics and frequency? Because I really feel like it brings me to another place when you do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm doing this stuff consciously.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Okay.
it's called channeling, and I just do it from the place that the ceremony has brought me into,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess. And if that has such an effect of you, wow, I feel super honored,
Mm-hmm.
that it works like that, because that's precisely the intention.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not record with like a specific, very
Intention.
conscious intentions. I'm gonna do it like for this and this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this whole realm behind the sound is really the realm of non-verbality, and these things work completely intuitively. Sometimes I also give people one-to-one session with the intention of healing, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
No, we just go into the flow, and we just experience different frequency as like releasing first, maybe, or then doing something that my friend called, actually what you're doing is like a sound qigong. And I was like, oh, okay. That's something new, which means like moving your body very slowly and experiencing the sound within yourself as a kind of massage.
Mm-hmm.
That's another possible type of frequency that you can experience, and many, many more. So I do these things completely intuitively. I have no idea what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
half of the time when these things happen. And very, very often in the workshops or sessions, I just channel this in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You can call it a practice or you can call it a tool, but it is also something that just gets discovered in the moment or gets
Mm-hmm.
created. That's also another part of mystery, where these things are actually coming from.
Mm-hmm.
How did people previously or primarily started channeling music and creating these traditions? It just comes from within our
Mm-hmm.
system when it is in tune with the nature, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It comes from the cosmos. It comes from within. It comes from, it just, you're an open channel to that creative force that moves through you. And wow, it's pretty incredible. Well, I've loved this conversation. I would love for you to let us know where's the best place for people to find you and your music. I know you said, I know it's available on all these platforms, but where can they reach you if they want to get involved in some of these events? Or what do you have coming up next as far as a retreats or as far as like workshops, and how can people work with you?
Yeah, of course, you can visit my website. It's floramor-music.de, like Germany, Deutschland. And it also has an English version. And I have a lot of upcoming formats in the next couple of months that are placed in Germany. And there's also always possibility of of them being both in German and in English. I work with both languages. And for the international audience, I'm having this amazing forest spirit healing ceremony, which is going to be in May in Sweden with a beautiful
Mm.
colleague of mine. It's going to be 5th to 7th of May in Sweden. So you might want to check this out in a beautiful, really, really sweet place in Sweden in the forest, super magical. And we're going to work also with breath work and with all my creative tools. So you might want to check this out. And yeah, the rest is just also on my website, and the album is going also to be there from, I hope, from the end of March. You can then download it from there.
Okay, great. This will be available by the time this airs. So please go on over to her site and maybe go to that event. Like, that sounds amazing. Sweden's always been on one of my bucket lists. And, everything that's being offered looks pretty amazing. And then go have fun, travel around Europe after if you're from the United States. So, um, and one more question before we go. What does it mean for you to live with an awakened heart?
Well, it's a constant lesson in being present. I'm just a human being. Let's not idealize that I'm like, I don't know, somebody very special that is always open-hearted and stuff, because that's not the reality of spiritual path. Spiritual path is a lot of hard work on ourselves, and it gets open and then it gets closed.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I get open, I am shiny, I am bright, I'm channeling, then I get close, I get sad, I also get depressed, I also get limited. It's just being a human. It's really being a human that is just opening to a greater potential. So walking that path means actually constant lesson in being present to whatever appears. Like right now, maybe it doesn't show, but I'm actually having quite a revolution in my belly talking to you this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It's all trembling, and I feel my neck also like tensing and stuff. And all I'm doing is just being present with us
Mm-hmm.
with a loving awareness as much as I am capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And in times of depletion of the energy, in times of where the system kind of wants to close down and go back to on the old tracks that we actually know aren't maybe serving us as well. Well, this is the moment of just like, okay, let me try to be as loving towards myself as I can, and maybe also ask for help in those times, when we are not doing very well, when we feel like we need something, but it's also sometimes very hard to ask. So it's all those aspects. Human beings are really community. We cannot walk this path without one another.
Mm-hmm.
We really need one another. I also need other people to support me in what I'm doing. And this is actually really makes sense like that, when we are there for each other as
Mm-hmm.
much as possible, and receiving and giving becomes like one flow. So I can also only tell that I am really blessed living in my community, because it's
Mm-hmm.
always there.
You're very blessed and to have a community around you. And we've seen how important that is because we need each other to support each other. And then also having that conscious awareness with yourself that you're not perfect. We're not perfect, but you can always, with your community and with yourself, you have a place to return to keep opening that heart. So when you're down, we're not feeling so great, you come back and you open your
Yeah,
heart again.
yeah,
So keep awakening your heart, closes off,
yeah,
you awaken it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also
Mm.
like not forcing yourself, not
Mhm.
pushing yourself.
Mhm.
There's very
Being
very
gentle.
often people get this like kind of I don't know, they press themselves to be spiritual and they think
Mhm.
it means this and that.
Mm-mm.
It's not like that, really. It's just being honest and vulnerable and understanding towards your own self.
Mhm.
And if same patterns that are maybe not so good for you keep reappearing and reappearing, some of these things are going to be with you probably till the end of your life. I
Mhm.
see it in my life. I have issues that were there 20 years ago and are still here.
Mhm.
They're still here. So it requires like a lot of, but this understanding for yourself deepens and deepens,
Mm-hmm.
and this acceptance also by receiving the feedback from others, because for the others it is very easy to tell me, come on, you're wonderful, come on, you're a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
person, you're important for us and stuff like that. So we need that feedback, but to be able to, like, in a healthy way, give it to ourselves, well, that's also the whole spiritual challenge.
Mm-hmm. It's having compassion and being present with it all. Because what a lot of the spiritual community will do is they'll bypass and like, nope, supposed to feel
Oh,
this way. Like, no, 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 anger. Like, oh, I'm being jealous. What all this be? But being present with it all and really acknowledging it and but not staying in that place. But you don't have to force yourself out. It's that
mhm.
allowing as well, and being present with it. Okay, yeah, I'm being a bitch today. All right, I'm like
Yeah,
grouchy, I'm tired. Okay,
yeah,
and then allowing yourself that space and letting it like, okay, hello, it's here. Okay, thank you.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
it's
And also
important.
the whole question of pain.
Hmm.
I think it's so important to understand what pain really means,
Mm-hmm.
what feeling pain really means for us. Like accepting the pain not in order to indulge in it, but in order to allow it to transform. But for that, we need to accept the pain for what it is
Mm-hmm.
and not add up more suffering on top of that through our interpretation. Oh, it's painful, it's
Mm-hmm.
terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a victim again and again, but just to again allow this presence and allow the gift that is behind the pain to come, because this is the way of expansion and this is the way also of feeling more pleasure and more blessedness and more beauty in life.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
And,
pain and beauty are just like two sides
mm-hmm.
of the same
And
coin.
not being in so much judgment of whatever
Oh,
it
yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I can't wait, like I said, for everyone to pick up this album and really start using it and integrating it into their being, into their lives. And please go check out some of the offerings that Floramor has on her site. And is that retreat that's coming up in May. I mean, geez, spring is, it's upon us. Thank God we're getting out of this winter, right? Anyone that's on the Midwest or the East Coast or, in Europe, there, a lot of them are, a lot of those, a lot of Europe is still in the deep freeze as well. So spring
Oh,
is
yeah.
upon us. Spring. Well, thank you so much for being here. And it's nighttime for you. And it's almost 9 o'clock there, and it's my afternoon. So, or it is 9 o'clock, right? You're 9 hours.
It's 8 actually.
Okay, so you're on 8 hours right now.
Yeah,
When does
eight
it go to
hours.
nine? It goes, or do you not? Because some of it, I think Italy's on 9 hours or something like that. So I thought it was 9 hours. Anyway, we just had spring. We just had the spring forward, which I hate. Do you guys have daylight savings over there? I can't stand it over here. Like where we jump, like, oh, well, now we have daylight savings, like
Ah,
a certain
but you
time of
mean
the
like
year,
we switched and we,
the
we add up
clock.
the hour
Yeah.
or took it then away? Yeah, we do that.
Oh, it's like, stop already. That's,
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I know I don't like it either. Anyway, we don't need it anymore. But we just had that on
Okay.
this past weekend where we sprung forward and always messes me up a little bit.
Oh,
So, but anyway, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for this wonderful conversation. And
it's been a blessing to talk to you. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. I appreciate you. You're so beautiful. You glow, you're talented, and thank you for sharing your gifts with the world.
Oh, thank you so much for your generosity. It's a beautiful spirit you carry.
Oh,
Really
thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Have a lovely evening.
Same, same.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.